Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing. Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza DoNisi. Pizza DoNisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the Ultimate Underground Metal Tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza DoNisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza DoNisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. For 45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They are open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. The year was 1979, and all the world was caught up in disco and Star Wars. But in Louisville, something was happening. A young entrepreneur named Ben had a vision to be the best record store in all of the city. Fast forward to 2023, and Better Days Records is still going strong. Still, after all these years, owned by the same guy. We have had some trips and falls along the way, but so does life, and Better Days is here to stay. With two awesome locations at 921 Barrett Avenue and at 2600 West Broadway, better days are surely in your future.
in a broken wasteland. Come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon my pyre. Oh, this is the metal forge. 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 Metal forge. My furnace starts to glow with crimson coals. My hammer beating out 1,000 blows.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in this week to the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host. And with him again, as always, is Jason Gardner from the Heavy Metal Wasteland.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, Jason? We're doing this kind of live on a Wednesday night recording segment here for the monologue for the Metal Forge this week, which features Mr. RF Traynor from Tower Hill. Dude, like, this band is so fucking awesome. Like, I don't know if you've got to listen to them or not, but they're pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I went and listened to the snippet that was on your preview. Actually, I need to do this actually before this episode airs for real. So I got 2 days to get my ass in gear and check them out.
Right. Well, they only do have a 3-song EP.
Okay, so it shouldn't be too hard to do. No excuses.
No, and it's actually cool because it is on the NWOTHM YouTube page.
Okay.
As well. So that's pretty cool. And like, I really dig their sound because they are the power metal and everything, but it's cool, and they do look cool and everything. And I'm glad, even though the EP, as we talk about in the show, is what it is, I'm excited for what's to come with the album, honestly. Right. with the whole band working together. So yeah, but we'll get into that here in a minute. Dude, Jason, while we're here doing this kind of live thing, tell everybody about Steel and Stone Fest. Again? Yes, always again.
Well, it's November 10th here in Asheville, our home base. It is $12 in advance at for the pre-sale link, $15 at the door day of show. 6 bands, All Hell will be opening, and then it will be my band, Temptation's Wings.
And then my band, Overload.
And then Oblivion Throne, Children of Reptile, and then the amazing Twisted Tower Dire. Local NC power metal legends here from North Carolina.
Fuck yeah, man. See, and that's cool because later on in this episode, RF and I talk about Steel and Stone Fest and how he legit marked out over Twisted Tower Dire playing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and by the way, this is also supposedly their only appearance this year.
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, at least in North Carolina, I can confirm that. I've been told from the source himself. Maybe another show the same weekend if I can get something lined up, but it seems I was a little late being 5 months out from that weekend to start looking for a second show.
Right.
I've been striking out everywhere. I'm like, Jesus, is there too many bands? Or what the fuck is going on?
Too many bands and not enough venues. Give me a fucking house show to play. If we'll play a house show, but we won't play for beer. No. Seriously though, yeah. Hit us up, man. Like metalforgeradio@gmail.com fucking we want to play a show on November 11th. So
funny
yeah,
that you say that, 'cause I was just writing someone to follow up on an inquiry when you ambushed me on this segment. So
nice. So see, it works out perfect. So I'm glad I did. So anyway, what else you got going on, man?
Well, just in band life, not much. We're just writing songs. We got about 4 really good, solid ideas. Some are almost done. Some are, just being twisted around to, be a TW sounding. Always looking for booking shows, and right now, as a music fan, I'm pretty engaged. There's a lot coming out, and I just seen today that Night announced that their debut album is being re-released by Century Media on vinyl.
Wow.
So on top of all the other shit that I need to buy, here's another one. And I'm like, great, yeah, why not? Throw it on the pile.
And I will say, I bought that on CD, and I absolutely love the CD print of it because it's got a foil cover.
Yeah.
And it's just so great. Like, the gimmick of the foil cover, I just absolutely love it to death. And I think more bands need to do shit like that, I think.
Well, I think more bands, at least unsigned bands, would do more adventure stuff if it was cheaper. A lot of this stuff is expensive. So.
It really is.
Outside of Kunaki or maybe even CD, they'd be doing some dual cases or digipacks.
True.
The fancy stuff like that is it's pretty high, man. And everything's digital now, and stuff sells pretty good on the merch table, but CDs really just don't. Vinyls sell good, sets sell good, but everyone's just kind of CDs.
I don't know. We go through phases. Even still today, we go through phases where somebody will pick up and they'll see that we'll have most of our stuff on the table and be like, wow, man, that's an awesome collection. Is that all of it? And then I'll have to say, no, this one's currently out of print and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then they'll just still go ahead and pick up everything. And it's like, wow, holy shit, that's cool. Even to this day.
Dude, if people spend $1 on us outside of door admission, I feel
right.
Seriously. It's like you didn't have to. We must have done something good for you to actually buy something. Or you're just sitting there looking bored and the guy feels sorry for you and just buy the book. And it can go one of 2 ways. But maybe he just feels weird for passing by you and decides to make it not popcorn when he just walks off.
Right. Or he's waiting for you to just here, man, take a button.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we've had a few of those Mercy sales in our day somewhere.
Oh yeah. I'm sure I've definitely played a show at a place where nobody turned up, but the 6 people who did completely cleaned us out on merch.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can name maybe 1, possibly 2 shows out of the however many years we've been together now, 16 I think, that we've never sold anything. And that was early on. We usually sell at least something every show.
That's cool. That's cool. So, fuck yeah. Well, dude, I'm looking forward to Steel and Stone. Obviously, the fucking big goddamn metal show is going to be October 13th at 21st in Germantown, and then October 14th at the Mag Bar. Let's make that clear. Day 1 is at this bar. Day 2 is at this bar. Got it. Get it?
2 shows, 1 fest. It's
2 shows, 1 fest. Yeah. Big goddamn metal show. It's a big goddamn weekend.
It's a 10 for 3 girls, 1 tub, I do believe.
And honestly, you know what?
That's next door, dude. That's maybe your next door.
No, it's not. And honestly, you know what? This is going to be a fucking hardcore metal fucking weekend. Yeah. Because not only do you have the big goddamn metal show on Friday the 13th at 21st in Germantown, the 14th at Mag Bar in October, but on the 15th at Portal, it was just announced that Zeke and the Hookers are gonna fucking be in town fucking playing that night at Portal. So it's gonna fucking be a fucking awesome ass fucking weekend of shows. Don't fucking count me into doing anything that weekend.
Yeah. I won't bother you, man. I know you'll be at show.
Shit, because I'll definitely be going to see the Hookers. You know, they're a fucking dream band to have on the Metal Forge, actually. So I'll have to talk to the guys and see if we can make it happen when they're here.
Yeah, cool.
So fuck yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode with RF Traynor here. So Jason, I'm going to play a song out, so hey, you're going to get to listen to one right now. This is from Tower Hill. This is Antigone.
Born under Doomside, under
Metalheads, this week is super fucking rad for me because I have Mr. R.F. Traynor from the band Tower Hill here in the Metal Forge, and I always love talking with bands from Canada because there's a certain laid backness about most of you.
Oh yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. It's pretty chill up here. You know, everybody's pretty everyone's really chill. You know, I don't know if it's the weather or the beer or whatever, but we like to take it pretty easy. You know, it's the same with a lot of I got a bunch of buddies down in the Midwest and like Chicago and stuff, and very much similar vibes, I feel like. So yeah, Andrew from RF Traynor, that's my stage name here from Tower Hill. Nice to be on the show. Definitely, and thank you for coming on. And yeah, you were talking like the dudes from the Midwest. See, I'm a Midwest guy myself. I am around Louisville, Kentucky. So yeah, when you're in like the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, yeah, there is a lot of that bleed over into the laid backness, I think. Oh yeah, I think there's the similar accent, you know, too. Like one we always have up here is a lot of people are like, you're walking past someone in the supermarket and you bump them. The first reaction is, oh, can I sneak right past you there, bud? Right? And only ever heard that in like from buddies from Chicago, right? Yes. So actually, it's pretty stupid. We myself and actually a couple of our other members, we were down in LA earlier this year in June. We went to go see Halloween. Fantastic show, awesome time, really cool. Kai Hansen doing heavy metal as the law was a bit of a bucket list moment, so it was pretty sweet. But we're down there, and we're there a few days earlier, and we're going to some bars and stuff, and we're chatting to some girls down there, and they're like, oh, like where are you guys from? And then my one friend, instead of just wanting to be like, oh, we're Canadian, he said, oh, we're from the Midwest. I'm like, man, it's close, but it's not the same thing.
No, it's definitely not.
Canada, like, what are you talking about?
No, because it's definitely not the same thing because
it's a lot bigger, lot colder.
Well, no, but even still, even the just like the language differences and the dialect difference. No, it's still a completely different thing. Like everybody here is fixing to do something.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's up? Well, I'm fixing to go down to the Stuckies and. You lost me on that one. I don't think I've ever heard that. Yeah, right. See,
our big thing is like, oh yeah, you know, we'll go out for a rip, you know, hack a darts, all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah,
so,
see,
like Letter Canny or whatever, or Trailer Park Boys, like that's it's definitely a stereotype, but it's also like pretty accurate. The big one too, where I'm from, like we're out in Alberta, so like Western Canada,
right?
Pretty like prairies, mountains. You ever see that show Fubar? It's like a movie, pretty good. It's basically about these two headbangers, and then one of them finds out he's got testicular cancer, so they go on a road trip before he has to get one of his nuts chopped off. But it's very accurate, and you meet people like that, especially some of the older dudes in the scene, and they're very much it's a stereotype, but it's founded in reality.
Definitely, and one of our films that is that way for me is American Movie.
Oh shit! I've heard about that. I haven't seen it actually.
And it's a passion project. It's a documentary of a guy making a film who finally, after so many renditions, gets made and everything. It's just so good. It is such a good film. Cool. So anyway, see, this is what I was talking about in the little pregame thing about saying we derail pretty regularly around here, and this being a conversation-based podcast. So, Tower Hill, I'm assuming by looking at like the metal archives here, and you know what they say about assuming and shit, right?
That's out of you and me.
That's right. 2020.
Grandma
so
used to say.
What's that?
That's what my grandma always used to say.
Right, for sure, you know. So 2020, and by the look on here, the Fighting Spirits single kind of demo was all done by you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So basically, to go a bit into kind of the history of Tower Hill, cut me off if I'm rambling too much here, because it's a bit of not a long story, but I used to live in this crappy apartment in Edmonton here about like 6 or 8 years ago with an ex-girlfriend. It was called, the name of the apartment was Tower Hill. And the whole time I was there, like, you know, my other roommate, actually a really good friend of mine who's still pretty involved in the band, he said, man, that would be like the best name for just like an old school metal band. I'm like, yeah, it totally would. It totally would. So fast forward a few years later, and the pandemic kind of hit, and everybody was kind of locked in their own houses for a little while. And I just got into this writing mode and banged out those 3 songs. A few of them were idea stages earlier. I thought, well, you know, why not use it? It's Tower Hill. Let's go. So that's kind of how that little demo came out. The drums on that one were programmed, but I did get my buddy who's a drummer, actually Mitchell, who's now in the band, to kind of revamp them for me, work on them for a bit. But all the guitar playing, all the bass on that, except for I think one solo, and then all the vocals is just yours truly.
Dude, see, that is awesome. And I commend bands who could do that, because I am very much a one-track mind. I can play guitar, rhythm guitar and slow solos. I'm not a sweep solo player. I can't fucking shred or nothing like that.
Oh, man. Yeah, no. I find a lot of my solos are like, whenever I'm writing a solo, it's kind of pushing it just to the limit of what I'm capable of, and then trying to squeeze that little bit more out of there, right? But
yeah,
it's
for
a struggle. Sure. It's always a struggle. That's why I'm so happy I have like actual guitarists on our new album who are in the band, Jeremy, Chris, great dudes, and they can shred like way, way, way more than I can. So it kind of frees us up a bit to do a little bit more stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. And see, and I'm that way with my bass. I think I try to push everything up to the point and try to do something new each outing, right? Whether it's in like getting my singing and playing better, you know, or learning just this new little nugget of knowledge and saying, hey, I've been doing this screwed up the entire time.
Oh, and I think that's one of the struggles I have with playing, right? Is when you like realize like, oh shit, I've been doing this wrong the entire time. Like, how do you kind of like then unlearn that habit, right? It's tough, because I'm starting to look into doing vocal lessons now. Just, you know, I'm hitting my 30s. I want to make sure that I'm preserving the voice, especially if we actually kind of get anywhere from this. Anywhere more than we've already gotten, right? Like I want to be able to do a tour and not burn out or blow my voice out and have to take some time off from the singing and stuff. So what I'm really dreading is having to be like, shit, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Because it's all self-taught. It's just karaoke, and then turning that into kind of, oh, this works, this doesn't work. You know, let's go from there. So there's going to be a lot of probably bad habits, and hopefully some good ones too to kind of hone there a bit. So
definitely, and I think the tour thing is making sure you know your stride and knowing what is too much and what is, you know, just right. And, you know, going on, like, for example, there are certain bands that if you ever notice when they don't tour consecutive days anymore.
Exactly.
And that goes for anybody, whether they're at the top level of the game of doing like arenas and stadiums, or if they're even just playing in the bar. You'll notice that some bands don't do that or they'll go 2 days or 3 days on and a day off. So yeah, everybody needs it, the recoup time, and they need to get to the stride of what works for them. So yeah, you're totally right on that with, you know, the habits and whatever we all develop on the road type shit.
Yeah, and like part of it I think too, I guess like knowing kind of your strengths and your kind of limitations in that regard, right? Like I found a big part with vocals has been learning the mic control, you know, relying on the mic to do the work, and then not over singing to the point that you're not able to kind of to hit those notes, right? So there's some videos of us on YouTube that I'm less than proud of the vocal delivery on that, but we've taken that under advisement, and we're trying to hone that up a little bit more. So we're working on it. And I'm feeling pretty confident about our next batch of stuff coming up here. You know, we're planning some gigs, most likely just in the kind of Western Canadian area here in the fall and in the spring, and I'm pretty optimistic those are going to go over really well.
Hell yeah, and that's exactly what I want to go with this as well. So the EP, single, demo, whatever it's being called, I get a little hazy on when there's less than like 5 songs, I guess, because some people mark it as a single, some people say it's an EP still. So
that was the thing, right? Like we wrote this, and I just said it's Fighting Spirits. It's a demo, right?
Okay.
Because the goal was really to pump it out there. Hopefully have some labels listen to it, pick up on it, which ultimately we were successful in, which I'm really stoked about. But I've had a lot of people like, oh, this sounds like the production on this is too good to be a demo, or like this, just call it an EP. I'm like, man, I don't even know. Like I'll let the Metallum of the world sort out
just whatever they call it, right?
Yeah. But sorry, man, go ahead.
When did you realize that, oh shit, this needs to be done live? And when did you decide that you wanted to put a band together to do it, or has that always been the idea?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, the goal originally with Tower Hill was strictly to do a one-man band, put out only releases, not actually do any live performance. It really, when I kind of initially wrote that set of songs and put out that demo, I didn't have sort of a bigger vision in mind of where this could go and whether there'd be potential for turning this into like kind of an actual live touring project.
Right.
What kind of set that off, I guess, was the demo got picked up by that. It's the YouTube channel. It's like New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the actual title of it, but it's a fantastic channel. You know, full props to them. They do a ton of work and legwork for new unsigned bands in this sort of style.
Mm-hmm.
We would not even exist, I don't think, without that outlet, basically. So when that got picked up, the demo got like a ton of views on that. I think should be around like 15 or 17,000 by now.
I actually just looked before this. I looked just before this interview, and it was just under 20,000.
Holy smokes! Okay, wow.
Yeah, well, it was 19 and change. So,
oh my goodness!
Congratulations! That is fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah. That's really good. So that got a lot of, and just especially that song, The Clause, The Law, that one kind of seemed to get a little bit of kind of like micro virality to it.
Right.
Just because the concept is so funny and on the nose, right? That a lot of people are, hey, this is cool. They did a metal song about fucking White Claw and all things.
Well,
so that
okay.
Off a bit.
But here's the thing. I didn't want to get into this early, so I have to bring this back up, or we could just do it now.
Okay.
So
go for it.
I follow you on the Facebooks, and
oh yeah,
and you are a practicing lawyer, right?
Not quite.
You're close to it.
Technically, I'm an articling student or student in law in my professional life, which I do not go by RF Traynor.
No. So okay, so there is a separation
of
of the metal versus the law here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Damn.
The law kind of,
because, I just want to point out that it's like, and I know whenever you had shared it and everything, I had congratulated you on it, and then I immediately posted a Saul Goodman fucking meme, which is, which is just me, and it's like,
oh yeah,
don't even know each other from Adam or anything at this point, and fucking, but like,
my bandmates do the same shit.
Right. Well, to me, it's a thing. It's an awesome point of sitting there and saying that it's a big fuck you to the socialite elitist fucks out there to sit there and say that, where they slump metalheads into like sleaze bags and fucking degenerates and shit, that here you are, fucking going to be an attorney, and that's fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. That really means a lot. I really appreciate the kind words there. It was a struggle, and especially with the whole school stuff was over the pandemic, right? So a lot of the shit you'd associate with going to law school, all that interpersonal contact, all that was replaced just with digital, right? So, and I'm not really great in that format. It was interesting. So I really appreciate the kind words. Actually, it's surprising too. I have maybe, I don't know, there's definitely a contingent of Western Canadian metalheads who are in bands, but who are also
high profile
or lawyer adjacent professionals.
Yeah,
so
or teachers.
Oh yeah, well our guitarist actually, Jeremy Puffer, one of my best friends, great guy. He's just starting out his career as a teacher and as an educator, and I think part of that is part of the I guess what makes that an interesting career is so much of it is telling stories, right? And one of the things that I love about heavy metal and that I'm passionate about, and that all of us are really, is the ability of it as a medium to tell these cool stories that other music wouldn't really touch on. So I think there's a little bit of overlap in there too. And I had some teachers back in school and even in my undergrad and stuff who were metalheads, and it was cool seeing that reflected in these professional people that I kind of admire, who like gave me the suggestion, like, hey, like I can do both of these things, right? I can write a song about how the claw is the law, and also go on to practice the law a little bit. So it's cool.
Right. And it is amazing. And it's great that you bring that when you realized that you had teachers who were metalheads too and stuff like that, and you could get on like a personal level with some of them. I remember the first time that ever happened to me, and I was in 8th grade at the time. And it was my English teacher, and we were studying creative writing and and he wanted us to write a song or a poem or whatever, and I just like completely plagiarized a song, of course. And
hell yeah, I love
and
that.
Because it's like, fuck this, I'm not gonna do this, And what I did was,
what song was it?
Pepper by the Butthole Surfers, which was which was starting its popularity then, right? And he recognized the song, and he said, and he wrote on the paper, he said, "Are you sure this is not the song Pepper?" And I was just, and I turned around and looked at him, and I gave a thumbs up, and he did too, and that was cool.
Great.
His
That's
name,
so good. I love that.
And I still remember his name. It was Doug Peachy, and he was a cool ass dude.
Pouring out to Doug Peachy wherever you are, brother. That's fucking sweet. I love that.
Fuck yes.
I got a story like that again from 8th grade. It was a little bit less positive, but I had I had just kind of got into heavy metal. It started around, I was like 11, 12 or whatever, when I started discovering all these bands, all the big ones like Iron Maiden, Slayer, Judas Priest, even I remember Manowar was one of the first bands I got into, of all things. But I was chatting with a buddy of mine outside of our, again, 8th grade English teacher's class, and we're talking about heavy metal and stuff like that. And I was mentioning, we were talking about that album God Hates Us All by Slayer. And then I guess my teacher heard this as she was walking in. She's like, "No, God only hates you." And I was like, ouch, right?
Wow, man.
Catholic school, so a little bit on the nose, but she actually, it was in jest, and she was a great teacher, recommended me some really, really fascinating books. I read Dune, Canticle for Leibowitz, all those kind of really good sci-fi stuff, which kind of, I guess, helped give me that kind of interest in the storytelling. So even though she wasn't a Slayer fan, full respect to her wherever she is these days.
Getting even still, the education that you did, like where you said, turned on to things like Dune and all of that. That's awesome. That's a positive outlook. And yeah, you might not get on with the Slayer with each other, but hey, I'm sure, there's something that I'm sure you like, that, like maybe John Denver. I don't know. He's a storyteller too, and I dig him.
Super sick.
So what is the ultimate goal here now? Like, because you all have something new coming out, is that correct?
Yeah. So to kind of rewind a little bit back to you were asking about whether the goal is kind of to have the live band or not, right? And initially the plan was to have it kind of be a passion project of, I put out some EPs, some demos of songs basically. But after that one kind of popped off, had that interest that really kind of ran with it a fair bit there. We ended up getting an offer from a record label that I have always been a huge fan of, big old school metal guy, No Remorse Records, who have fantastic bands on the label, like Secret Outcry, new album, really good stuff. Of course, Eternal Champions. So we had some interest from them. And we ended up signing the deal with them. That's kind of leading to the album that's going to be coming out later this fall. And one of the things that they had asked is like, well, like, what's the band? Like, send us photos when you have your full lineup. Kind of. I'm like, wait, well, shit, I could totally put together a lineup and turn this into an actual, like, a live thing and create some kind of more of a project that has legs instead of just sort of me churning out a demo every year or something like that.
Right.
So I ended up kind of pulling some friends together from other bands that I've been in. A few folks that I really admire in the local and regional kind of scene here. And we decided to kind of go with that and run with that. So that the goal, I guess, then would be really to be a touring heavy metal band, I guess, where we can hopefully play some festivals in ideally other countries, set up some international shows, tour locally. We've got the first album in the pipe, basically just waiting, from what I understand, for the test press on that, make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and then we'll be looking towards releasing that later this fall. We have about half of the second album written, which is going to be more of a kind of a collaborative effort between myself and the rest of the band, as opposed to the demo and even most of this one, which has been kind of generally my songwriting. We're trying to kind of expand on our portfolio a little bit in that regard. So really basically play as much shows as we can, put out some amazing music, and see where it goes, I guess, would be the long-term goal for Tower Hill here.
Definitely. And see, that's amazing, especially as you said, going into your 30s doing this.
Oh, yeah.
With it being a new venture,
Right.
And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I hate to call 30s midlife, but for a lot of people it is.
I'm feeling that, man. I'm totally feeling that. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I have back pain now. Like, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, and I'm 10 years older than you.
More than a day. Oh my god.
Right, and I just turned 40, so yeah.
Oh gosh. My condolences.
Yeah, right. 1 foot in the grave. No. But no, it's
get that out of there.
And what I mean by that is that it is a thing where, to be able to do that and be in your 30s. And I think, ultimately, we all have the friends who were doing this when they were like 22 and, all the time when they were like 15 or whatever. And it's like, wow, I wish I could do that, but I don't have that. But I'm like, I think we all have to develop our version of that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That totally makes sense. And as someone who's kind of had sort of these dreams of basically of heavy metal stardom since a young age, it's very, very cool to be finally starting to have those kind of like those goals and experiences come true to an extent, even a bit later in life, right? Like I never thought when I was 15 I'd actually managed to get a record deal for anything, right? And that's just such a cool thing. Then the tension and the stress that I have now is saying like, shit, like can I continue to manage this creative outlet and this goal and this experience? Well, I'm also trying to start my career as an attorney, right? So there's going to be a lot of balls in the air, but for me, an important thing is having that work-life balance. And I think heavy metal as a thing gives a lot of people that ability to kind of let loose and have these cool experiences and meet new people, even when they're doing whatever else in their work or their professional life. Like I went down to Hell's Heroes actually the last 2 years. Met this one dude, great guy. I think his name was Carlos or something. I'm trying to remember, but I remember the first day on the Thursday night before the show even started. He was like working on his laptop doing some like QGIS or whatever zoning stuff. I'm like, man, are you at work right now? He's like, hell yeah, brother. Right?
Oh my God.
Literally on the clock, but he's just so dedicated to the rock that he's there. And it's really cool to see. And I think if folks can do that, so can I, right? So
hell yeah, man. And I think that's going to be one of the things I think you might need to reassess your business goal here. The heavy metal attorney, dude. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. There's potential, right? There
is, dude, because like he's a dude for the people. No.
Well, I think that it's cool you mentioned that. Actually, since I've kind of had got through school here and had this certain kind of opportunity to learn a bit about how the law works. I've had a few friends reach out to me, saying like, hey, I'm looking at signing this record deal. Hey, I'm looking at booking this thing. Could you review this contract for me? And let me know if there's anything I should be aware of, any issues.
There you go.
I always caution them, like, I'm not technically a lawyer, but I'm happy to look it over and let you know if there's something that jumps out to me as odd, right? So it's just an interesting skill set, and I think that there is potential to make a practice in there, I guess. In addition to, of course, all the continuing to play music and stuff, but it's something to consider, and it's cool that you mentioned that, and I've been kind of thinking about that a lot. So,
well, absolutely, and shout out to Chuck Baxter from Kentucky here. He is in a band called The Char, super awesome punk band, right? And and he is the gentleman who had actually helped me get my trademark for the Metal Forge.
Cool.
And it is awesome to know people in the scene that way, and that makes this awesome, beautiful community of it. That's what I think about stuff like that. That that we have, that you are hopefully soon to be a practicing lawyer. I mean,
knock on wood.
I mean, I'm sure you have to take the bar exam and all of that. So.
Still coming up. So I actually did. I was doing some studying for that immediately before this. Call.
So the Metal Forge crashes bar studies.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So and it's cool, right? Our guitarist Chris, he's a to be honest, I don't know how to describe what he does in like one word or phrase, but he deals with a lot of like cybersecurity, a lot of like social media management, stuff like that.
Wow.
His knowledge has been super useful to us in terms of kind of like cultivating how to develop our presence online, making sure our accounts are like secure and everything. It's cool, right? It's nice when folks can kind of bring their own skills to the band.
Yeah, for sure. And that is an amazing deal too. We all have our own deals like that for mine as well. My private life, I sling auto parts, so I know a lot of shit about cars and stuff like that.
If I ever need to rent, do some tour van repairs,
give me a call. I might be able to get you something.
Fuck yeah. You bet.
Yeah, especially, if you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, for sure.
Oh. Well, that's definitely one of the goals. I really we're really hoping to get into the States probably in maybe the next year and year after that. Got a lot of good friends down there who are in some great bands. Love to get on the bills with them and stuff, and get out of the kind of the Canadian bubble a little bit. But it's a lot of that is easier said than done. It's pretty expensive to get those the touring visas and stuff that you need, and logistical aspects are pretty challenging, but we're optimistic we'll be able to make it work one day and get out of Dodge here. So
definitely, man. That's awesome, because I think getting the one-off shows is really good, and it makes you feel good, and then you're just like, wow, we're gonna go 4 hours away this time, or we're gonna go 6 or 10 or 12 hours away, or we're gonna convert this to a whole weekend, and and that's the exciting part, when you just do stuff like that.
And up here, the distances are so freaking crazy. Like
yes.
it's logistically, touring Canada is a challenge, right? Like the next nearest big city to where we live is 3.5 hours away. And then from there, if we wanted
Calgary?
to go hit basically Vancouver, we're looking at like a full day drive. So I think it'd be cool to one day do even just like a West Coast tour and kind of be able to bang through those cities that are closer together.
Oh,
and actually,
yeah,
to enjoy the drive and have where you're not just making it like just in time, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, where you could do something like Vancouver, Seattle. Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, like Fresno, Boise, and back up to like Billings and back up.
Good little loop there, right? I know if you're going out east in Canada, I think there's one stretch of the road on the like through Ontario. You're going through like from Manitoba down to like southern Ontario. You're driving for at least like 11 hours before you get to anywhere really, and it's a long. Canada's really freaking big. Actually, we're working on a song that'll probably be on our next album, and the lyrics are just about how like Canada is very big.
Well, fuck, dude, why not?
It's played more badass than that sounds, but it's gonna be pretty fucking funny.
I love it. I mean, there needs that. Metal does need that, I think, and that's great. Because we all have our own things where we do that. From Motorhead had their their comedy bits in songs too.
Absolutely. I think it's important that as serious as heavy metal can be, that we got to remember that like we're here to have fun. Like you listen to a band like Visigoth, right? Like love those dudes, great guys, big fans, met them a bunch, super chill people. All the songs are like, yeah, they're serious, like sword and sorcery, Dungeons and Dragons themes, the Revenant King, he's going to kill you with the sword. But then they got songs like The Mammoth Rider or whatever, which is about a guy who rides a mammoth, and then Salt City Living, about just partying in fucking Salt Lake City. And like that is cool. And that adds as much fun to it. And we're trying to almost have that same kind of energy where like, yeah, we'll have songs about like, I don't know, like movies and space battles and shit, but then we have a song about like going for beers.
The claws, the law,
around, right? Like, yeah, it's good.
and see, that's where we come back to this before we switch over to the derailed segment, which we've already derailed, right?
Oh shit! Sorry, brother.
No, this is awesome. This is what it's all about. Is the heavy metal attorney, the claw is the law. So yeah, it all works out eventually. So when, hopefully, is the new album going to be out?
Well, we're basically just kind of waiting for the final kind of to get the test press back, make sure everything's all good to go. We're looking for a release window around I'm thinking mid to late October to early November. We've got a couple tentative show bookings for the end of November that we're kind of hoping and expecting it'll be out before then. Everything's all done. It's my understanding is it's just kind of getting that sort of like the actual like the pressing and production ready to roll on it.
Fuck yeah, man, that is awesome.
And I want to go more into like the album and how cool it is, but I don't want to scoop myself before that.
Yeah, before this happens. Yeah,
there will be a lyric video for the first single, probably coming out the next, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks, hopefully. Okay. Along with kind of the track listing. We'll have pre-orders up on our Bandcamp once that drops. It's going to be super sick. Very stoked about the artwork. It's going to be great. So those 3 songs from the demo will be on the album again, kind of re-recorded parts of them. with like new drums, a lot of new vocal work, new solos. So those are all kind of sort of reimagined, bulked up, enhanced versions. Got a really cool guest appearance of Jeff Black, good friend of mine from Gatekeeper, on one of the songs.
Yes,
a great solo.
Friend of the Metal Forge.
Oh yeah, good dude, really good. Actually, he gave us a lot of advice when I was kind of getting this off the ground, just in terms of how to approach getting a record deal and how to kind of like what works, what doesn't. Super good guy. Yeah, I lots of respect for Jeff, lots of respect for Gatekeeper, fantastic fucking band. Very good example of not taking yourself too seriously as them. I saw them this year at Hell's Heroes, and they're whipping fantasy novels into the audience. Just fantastic.
Definitely,
so, yeah. The works, feeling good. It should be pretty cool. About six more new songs on it as well, plus the 3 from the demo. And then we got a bunch in the works for the next couple albums.
Hell yeah, man. Definitely looking forward to it. So
thanks, man.
We'll definitely be plugging it when the release date comes out for sure, and saying, hey, we definitely need to go get this.
I can give one little spoiler. So the artwork, we've got the amazing Andreas Marschall from Sodom fame, Blind Guardian. He did some stuff for Immolation. So we're going for that cool, that airbrushed art kind of that you'd see on the side of a van in the 80s style.
Fuck
right?
Yeah, dude. It's funny that you mentioned that, the airbrushed on the side of the van thing, because
oh yeah,
some friends of mine in the band Stormtoker just got a new van, and I told them, I was just like, dude, you need a van mural. You know, anywhere you can put it, you need it, because they're like a stoner groove band. And honestly, there was, back in the day, they still have the vans, but I don't think they still use them for delivery. But there's a pizza place that has like, it's called Spinelli's, and they had Eddie painted on the vans.
like Iron Maiden.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Not
That's
Eddie Murphy,
so cool.
No. Which would be equally as great.
What was he doing? Was he slinging pizzas or just lurking around? Like,
he had so the one for the Killers, instead of the axe, he had a pizza cutter.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah,
that's cool. You know, I that's one thing I love with Iron Maiden is like they always do these themed tour shirts for the different countries they visit. Like last time they were here through Canada, they had like Eddie riding a moose, or like Eddie playing hockey or something. Yep. I feel that could be like the Italy one, is, you know, he's just slinging pizzas.
Yeah, see, that's great. And you know, and all of the other licensed or unlicensed things that have come out with that, where it's like like the Mandalorian with like the big blaster, like running into battle, or the stormtroopers, you know, you see all of that stuff, and it's cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and
that's to bring it back to the, you know, the legal lens for a thing. You know, I think like that's the extent when, you know, that you've come up with something cool, is when people are like ripping it off in a way that's a tribute to you, right? Like, I think if you're gonna dig in your heels and get mad about that, then like, you got to grow up a little bit, right? Like, and full respect to Iron Maiden, as far as I know, they've never sued anybody for trying to like do the trooper artwork with their own guy on it or whatever. Like, that's super cool.
Absolutely. I mean, and if that were the case, you know, they could have totally have sued, you know, people like Megadeth and such.
Hey, Church Recordings presents Haunt and Hellfire, No Sleep Till Death. Starting Thursday, August 24th, 2023 at Reverb Lounge in Omaha, with select dates in Chicago, Detroit, Newport, Indianapolis, Brooklyn, Wallingford, Philadelphia, Washington, Atlanta, Pensacola, Lafayette, and more. Check listings on Facebook and the Haunt the Nation fan club. No sleep till death.
I feel the urge to fight.
In a time of madness and deceit, its coming was foretold. And now, Soulgrinder has returned to become filled and crushed. From the band who brought you the prophecy of blight comes a terrifying new chapter that will leave you changed forever. This summer, don the armor of atrophy. Let plasma crush away and become filth encrusted.
Born forever in a foul river, baptizing you, touching stranger than you've ever been.
So anyway, let's go ahead and switch over here to the general profile question segment called
Sounds good, brother.
Derailed. What's that?
I just said, sounds good, brother.
Hell yeah. So 5 random questions about anything. Question number 1 is, do we control technology, or is technology controlling us?
Oh, that's a good question. To kind of contextualize, I think there's a guy from Edmonton. He's a kind of philosophy media scholar dude, Marshall McLuhan, who had this interesting kind of phrase, right? It's like the medium is the message. So I think that to an extent, technology can control you in that you're limited by the constraints, both like mechanical, physical, symbolic, of whatever the technology that you're using and how you can express an idea, right? For example, like if I'm like how streaming has affected the music genre, the music scene, and how like the release cycles work and stuff, right? Like there may be more pressure on a band to pump out a bunch of singles in advance of a album release in order to kind of get those plays and get that streaming revenue and stuff for the labels that you wouldn't have had before the advent of that technology, I guess. So in that sense, like the technology can almost control what you're capable of kind of doing and what the limits of what's possible are. Mm-hmm. But I do think ultimately, in a broader like societal sense, we're not yet at a point where things like AI and algorithms are truly dictating to us what we have to do, unless we want to allow that to happen. In that sense, if you're kind of like inviting the demon in the door, it'll run your life, I guess. But I think yet we're not controlled by technology, but especially with the growth of AI and algorithms, and especially you're seeing now stuff like AI doing artwork and composing music. And there's this thing I've been seeing where it's like people using an AI to like have James Hetfield sing other songs that he never sang, and that strikes me as a very worrisome trend where we could potentially be getting to that stage of
definitely
technology controlling us more than we want it to.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that in a few episodes back that I had spoke with about some other people as well. And about that happening, and where, when is it going to be a point to where it's like, okay, we've really got to, take a look at this because, like I said, that's one of the reasons why the Screen Actors Guild are on strike right now and such. Right. And
and frankly, that's horrifying. Like, the idea that like your image could be scanned and then potentially manipulated and used without your awareness in a way that you're not making any, not being compensated for.
Right.
That's pretty horrifying, right? And that's, I guess, the tension. I'm a pretty pro-union, pro-labor guy, and I have full respect for the actors and stuff for being willing to dig in their heels and push back on that, because that's very dystopic in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And and I think it, thanks to like ILM and Lucasfilm and stuff, they're the reasons for this because of the Peter Cushing thing. And
right.
And it's crazy that, like, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Crispin Glover sued over this idea where...
Really?
Yes, because he was not cast as George McFly in Back to the Future 2. They had used a face mold of his from Back to the Future 1 and made a cast of his face and put it on another character or on another actor. And
that's creepy.
And he actually sued over that and won. So it's the same thing. It's just new technology. And to me, this is where fundamentally musicians are lacking, because we as a group of people could stand up to our respective governments and say, this is not right. You know what I'm saying? We put this music on Spotify and Pandora that pays even less than Spotify. And, we do not get compensated. We need to change this. How do we change this? And
that's a tough question. Yeah.
And that is where I see things going for us, because, with musicians, that we can't do that for some reason. We don't get that chance, but we're like, actors have banded together to stop this. Musicians need to do the same thing.
Well, I think you really hit the nail on the head right there, Mark, actually. That, it's that the actors, to an extent, they do have this sort of collective organizational ability and consciousness and awareness that, hey, we're all in this together. And as musicians, obviously there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of support and a lot of mutual aid in that sense, right? I can't count the amount of times other bands in the region have kind of given us a leg up and given us pointers and everything, but there very much is that kind of atomized and individualist culture in music, which is great because it's so creative and it's so individual. But then when it comes to coordinating these sort of industry-wide and
organizational
efforts, it's how do you even begin to start that? There's, it's something like the Screen Actors Guild it's been around for a long time. And part of it, I think, maybe has to do with the fact that physically a lot of actors are kind of working in the same spaces, the same areas. They have those abilities to interact with each other. Whereas, if you're in a metal band or you're in any kind of band, really, you're seeing your other musicians on tour, on festivals or whatever. You're not all working out of Hollywood or out of Vancouver and like you would in a film industry position. So I think it's tough to almost overcome that kind of the detrimental aspects of that individualism and that atomization. But on the other hand, to go back to the technology factor, that's also giving us those tools to potentially build those relationships like I'm talking to you today.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe develop more of that kind of hey, this law or this bill or this economic choice is going to badly affect musicians. Like, for example, the visa laws in the U.S. right now are very detrimental to Canadians.
Right.
Or a lot of other touring bands, but it's pretty tough, even as an American, to organize people to get your government to back down. It's even more difficult for non-Americans to try to do the same thing to the U.S. government. So it's a challenge, and I think that the first step is, as you suggest, is recognizing there's a problem and that we're kind of, if the actors are doing this, we're probably going to be next, right? So
right.
It's tough, yeah.
Well, yeah, and there have been musicians who have stood up and stood up against things like Prince and Garth Brooks and Eagles and such, to where you can't get their music on certain platforms like YouTube and such, and it's. And when it does get put up, it almost immediately gets yanked back down again, type shit.
And then it's tough. There's always the tension of you want to have the wider audience, you want to have people listening to you, but you want to be getting kind of the revenue and essentially the wage for your labor.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And it's just, things are changing and they're weird, man.
It is. That is probably one of the best summaries I've heard of the recent state of the world. Is things are changing and they're weird, man.
Yeah, right.
On the head, brother. Yeah, totally.
What does the word invention mean to you?
invention. Huh. Oh, that's tough. I think like, well, obviously you have the physical thing of like, you know, coming up with like I don't know, my uncle tried to invent these flip-flops that have a towel on the back of them, and if you step out of the hot tub and walk with them, it like cleans the water trail. So like that's an invention. But I think the word invention to me would be more of an abstract thing of like, you know, like creating something new and coming up with new ideas. And sure, that can be like a physical item like the walk and mop sandals, or that can be like, you know, let's throw a saxophone.
That sounds like a 3 a.m. infomercial.
Yeah,
the walk and mop sandals.
I shouldn't. I should have talked to him before I brought this up.
But
shit!
He
actually was on Dragon's Den for it, and they, from what I recall, they weren't a big fan of the walk and mop, which sucks because I think it's a fucking great idea. You know?
Because metalheads are all carnies at heart, and that's a carny gift.
Oh yeah, totally. But invention to me would mean like just you know, the desire to create something that no one's ever heard before, or to contribute something, some sort of statement out there, right? Like I wouldn't necessarily consider Tower Hill the most inventive band, because it's a lot of it is tribute and reimagination, and the style is not something that's novel, but I think it's inventive in that we're putting out music that obviously they're all new songs. No one's put them out before because we created them, right. But it's inventive in that we're kind of
you're paying homage to metal of the past,
and to metal bands that wouldn't have really like necessarily interacted, right? Like I feel we've got a big Running Wild influence on there, but there's also some stuff that draws more from American sort of power metal, like Riot or Omen, kind of, just in terms of the riffing style on it. And that's it. I guess I like to think it's inventive. And on some of the stuff we're working on for the next album, like down the road, like we do have a couple of songs that are more prog and progressive and sort of their flavor and stuff, but I think part of
album title,
if you're from a musical perspective, if you're being inventive, you can't just pursue like weirdness for the sake of being weird, right? Like it's gotta sound good.
Right.
You gotta drag people in.
Definitely. And like I said, hashtag album title, Down the Road.
Oh, yeah. that's
Tower,
a good one, actually.
Tower
that's
Hill,
really
Down the Road.
Like,
yeah.
What was that? Shit, I'm blanking on. There was never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, see, it works. It works. We're gonna go dark here.
Oh shit.
Okay. So on the legal side of things here, which murderer do you think could have, quote, been somebody if they didn't go down their dark path?
Oh fuck! Well, that's I gotta go with Ted Bundy.
I knew it.
Like, yeah, that dude.
I knew it.
I don't know how many alternate history things I've read where it's like, what if Ted Bundy just like ran for the Republican nomination? It's like, you know, I think if that guy directed his energy to other shit, he probably would have ended up killing a lot of people. Let's be real. But he would have done it in a
completely different way.
Exactly. You know, a President Bundy would have had a very horrible death count. Let's be real. So maybe and
then you could still have James Hetfield arrest him.
Yeah. That's what I think. I like it. It's tough because when you see, like, I was watching this movie, The House That Jack Built. It's a Lars von Trier movie. I was watching it last night. But I fell asleep halfway through. I was really tired. But a good movie. The thing is, this guy is just so meticulous. It's like, man, like, if you put this amount of effort into any other thing than killing people, like, you could have done a lot better yourself, right?
Definitely. Yeah, oh, for sure.
Also, Charles Manson probably, too. Even though I don't think he killed anybody personally, but if he had, like,
had just been like a social rights activist or something.
Yeah. Pardon?
Had he been like a social rights activist or something like that,
Yeah,
rather
or
than
something,
a fucking
right? Or like Jim Jones or whatever. I think all those guys, there's that kind of like that thin line that some of them tread where it's like, okay, like you could use your persuasiveness for good, but you just end up using it for the most fucked up things possible.
Right. And I will honestly say that I am a dirtbag, and I love a good Jim Jones stay hydrated meme in the summer.
That's really good.
Question number 4. What
Yo.
are your top 3 favorite 90s movies?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think. To be honest, I don't watch a lot of 90s movies. I am very much like a 70s, 80s guy. Let me try to think. Did The Fifth Element come out in the 90s? That's a 90s film, right? I fucking love The Fifth Element. That's a great film. Very good. I just love how like over the top and cheesy kind of the elements of it are. The flying cars are really sick, so that'd be up there. Yeah, no, not a really big 90s guy. Titanic is like the iconic one, but I wouldn't really consider that like a good movie.
Right.
I don't know.
You know, I think Titanic started the edutainment genre.
Oh yeah.
You know, where it's like it's a historical situation with a love story intertwined with it. Like Pearl Harbor was the same way.
Sick fucking movie, 1992, split second, starring Rutger Hauer.
Oh, yeah.
Very good movie. Yeah, it's like kind of like a Blade Runner-esque thing, but it's got a little bit of like paranormal stuff going on with it, and he's super badass. It's awesome. Big fan of that. I love any sort of like noirish cop thing. Is Demolition Man, is that 90s?
That's
a
is.
90s film, right? That's a banger. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All
Good
right.
shit.
So hell yeah, man. Demolition Man, fucking The Fifth Element.
Split second, Rutger Hauer.
Second.
That's a banger.
Fuck
And,
yeah, dude.
Fucking Fifth Element. That's just classic.
Definitely, man.
My cat's here, buddy.
What's that?
Said my cat's here.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, so we have one more question, but before we get into it, as always, links are listed below, so please give a like, a share, and a follow. Go find these guys on Bandcamp, YouTube, everywhere. Dude, go buy merch, do whatever it is to help support the scene, because that's what it's fucking all about. And I love sharing new bands with all of you listeners out there. And dude, do you have anybody you want to give shout outs to today?
Oh, fuck yeah. I have like a lot of people I'd give shout outs to. We could be here all day. Definitely got a shout outs. I'm going to say my buddies in Chambermage. Great fucking band.
Love 'em.
I think they're from Denver. Super sick. Similar kind of vibe, except a bit more like epic metal, if that makes sense. They were on Stormbringer this year. Big things coming up for them.
For sure. They're on the Volume 1 CD of the Metal Forge sampler.
Oh, no way. Dope. I love that. Good.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. No, props to those dudes. Big fans. Got to shout out Riot City. We're label mates with them. They gave us a ton of advice on how to kind of like get the ball rolling in terms of recording, in terms of like promoting the band, getting it out there. Helped us get a lot of gig opportunities here in the area. Big fans of those dudes. Great stuff. I think they just played Bakken quite recently, so really fucking cool. Big career movement for them that I love to see. Gotta also shout out my pals in Power Paladin from Iceland. One of the best up-and-coming new power metal bands. I think they're on Atomic Fire Records, which is super dope for them. Huge fans. Last gig, I saw pictures of them. They were repping a Tower Hill shirt. So big thanks to my man Atlee for repping the Tower Hill stuff. Super cool. Obviously, got to shout out the label. Thank you, No Remorse. We're super pumped to get this album out. And thanks for all your support and your patience and getting this beast and this baby out on the way there. And yeah, I think that's about it. Of course, shout out to yourself, Mark.
Oh,
Really
man,
appreciate
thank
the
you,
opportunity
dude.
to come on here and have this chat. It was a good time.
Hell yeah, and absolutely shout outs to you and everybody else though. Hell yeah, man, awesome bands. You know, you mentioned Chamber Mage, obviously on the Metal Forge Volume 1, Riot City, fucking rad ass band. You know, their drummer has some of the best quotes that I've ever played back on the Metal Forge.
Good guy, love that dude.
Yeah, Mr. Jake Grease, Greasy Grace goes to space on Instagram.
Got the pretty good Instagram account. Toss that fucker a follow. Awesome
No
account.
shit, dude. He is hilarious. He is such a great follow.
good. Oh, yeah.
And like I said, his handle is Greasy Grace Goes to Space.
Goes to space.
And it's so fucking funny because like anytime there is something that he does that rhymes with his name, I immediately rhyme it and send it to him. Like he was holding a bass one day and I said Greasy Grace plays a bass. So it's like a weird, he's a weird metal Dr. Seuss character.
Oh yeah. But that's what makes metal fun, right? Or those characters like that, right? Like there's so many of them, and you know, I think if you're one of the characters, you're good, right? Also,
right.
Gotta shout out my man Tommy in North Carolina. He's got a sick fucking band called Oblivion Throne. Full support to that guy. You know, got to hang out with him at Texas for the first time in years. Hope we can play together sometime soon, man. Shout out to you, buddy.
Definitely shout out to them because my band Overload is playing with them at Steel and Stone 7 this year.
Oh shit, dude, that's awesome. Good for you.
Which was just announced a few days ago. So
Nice.
by our recording of this.
They're great. Really, really good. I don't know if it was an EP or a demo. Again, like I'm saying, like whatever. The release they put out this year was spectacular. Really cool.
Oh, fuck
like,
yeah.
Reminded me of like black thrash with like a little hint of like J Power, kind of ex-Japan loudness vibe to it. Super, super fucking cool. Great little
definitely.
demo tape. Or EP.
Dude, every band on that bill is awesome. You know, fucking All Hell, Temptations Wings, Overload,
All Hell
Oblivion
is sick.
Throne,
Very good band.
Children of the Reptile, and Twisted Tower
I
Dire.
love Children of the Reptile. That's one of my favorites from this year so far.
Yeah. It's a great fucking
release.
album.
That's a fucking great album. They did that one. I don't know if you saw that one. It was a bad photo they did, and it's like the three guys with like their cars, and then the one dude with like his fucking like mobility scooter.
Yeah.
It was the sickest promo photo I've ever seen. So dope.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's so rad. I love those guys, you know, and shout out
awesome.
obviously
That's
to
awesome.
Jason.
That's you guys.
And definitely shout out to Jason Gardner. Everybody knows who he is from the Heavy Metal Wasteland segment, and the Mudhorn and the Alehorn and the other Flamekeeper podcasts because of promoting Steel and Stone Fest. So fuck yeah.
Steel and Stone Fest. Okay, I gotta look that up. Maybe get on the radar there.
Yes,
Like
absolutely. This is their 7th year. So.
Oh, Nashville, sick. Asheville,
North Carolina. Yeah.
Not Nashville. Shit, they got Twisted Tower Dire on this.
Yes,
No.
in their only
man.
performance this year.
That is a crazy lineup. Holy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
So, dude, final question, Mr. RF
Go away.
Traynor of the day. If you could transport a raging furious elephant to any one point in history, where would you put it?
Oh my God, that's an interesting question. Let me think on that for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, the elephant's going fucking nuts.
And obviously, I'm going to say there's one point in history that everybody would do it, so that's disqualified.
What is that?
Before Hitler.
Oh,
Everybody
shit.
would do that. Everybody would do that.
Yeah,
So
man,
you can't choose that because that's the obvious
I'm not gonna do the
cop-out.
before Hitler thing. I'm trying to think. I think it would have been interesting to put the elephant right before Lincoln's assassination and see what would have happened with that.
Wow.
And then, maybe he dies by elephant instead of by gunshot wound. But I think that would have been interesting to see what could have happened if, like, he had been able to survive and, like, continue the reconstruction and shit like that, and where kind of, like, American history and, by a tangent, like, world history would have sort of ended up.
I have a perfect answer for this as well.
Oh, yeah? What
yeah.
are you thinking?
What if the elephant is already there, and I just choose the point in time when it rages?
Oh, shit.
Topsy.
What?
Topsy. Are you not familiar?
Is that the elephant that got killed?
Yes. Topsy is the elephant that got killed from Thomas Edison testing electricity.
Oh, shit. Yo, and then potentially electricity never would have existed because the elephant would have, like, killed him before he could have done it.
No, but, I mean, but we would all be living on Tesla energy now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be a much, much better world.
Yeah. So, boom! I just fucking fixed everything.
Fixed global inequality with one elephant.
And it wasn't even from Dumbo Drop. That horrible 90s movie.
Oh, you could change a lot of shit with the power of, like, one elephant.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, a certain hotel franchise in 2016, in November of 2016. Let's leave it at that. Dude, thank you so much for coming on to the Metal Forge this week. This has been fucking blast.
So much fun. Really great chat. Nice to meet you. Happy to pump the band a little bit, give some shout outs. Awesome time. You know, we'll definitely keep you guys posted as the album's coming out there. And yeah, any other questions, always feel free to give us a shout. We're always happy to chat.
Hell yeah. And obviously, on our way out today, because it's Fighting Spirits, because that's all we have right now, what do you want to play out?
Oh, man, I gotta go with The Claws of the Law. That's
yes.
the classic. Yeah, that's the one everybody loves. Let's give it to them.
You know, every time I see this title, I immediately think of, like, Fritz von Erich in the Texas wrestling fucking thing, going the claw, you know. So
my thought process with this was like, you know, there's been so many metal songs about drinking beer. There's been so many metal songs about just, like, drinking whiskey and tequila, swords and tequila, all that shit, right? Like, let's do one about, like, the least metal drink that still fucking rocks, and, like, fucking White Claw. Fuck yeah.
Here it is. The Claw is the law.
Yeah.
Highway glare
In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shadebeast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shadebeast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shadebeast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Set back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code MetalForge10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana is the premier 12,500 square foot music superstore that has served both southern Indiana and Louisville, Kentucky metro area for over 4 decades. Originally founded by Marvin and Beverly Maxwell in the 70s, this gym remains a Maxwell family-owned business. Mark Maxwell, along with his business partner Whitney McNichol, continued the reputation as being the national resource for all things music.
In 2022, the iconic Guitar Emporium of Louisville relocated to Maxwell's Music, creating the largest independently owned showroom in the region. The retail offerings at Maxwell's Music includes a huge selection of guitars, basses, amplifiers, effects pedals, modeling amps, keyboards, drums, banjos, mandolins, ukuleles, sound systems, stage lighting equipment, and accessories. The music education program at Maxwell's is second to none. From private instrument and voice lessons to DJ, EDM, recording, songwriting, and music theory, to rock school, weekend warriors, and Maxwell's Music Lab, there is something for every age and every ability level.
Down in Repairland, guitar and instrument repairs and refurbishment are taken care of by the Maxwell's team of expert guitar technicians and luthiers. They also do appraisals of instruments as well. Maxwell's offers installations for professional audio, visual, and lighting systems for schools, churches, clubs, VFWs, funeral homes, sports fields, and so much more. There's also rentable space at Maxwell's, from the music practice and rehearsal rooms for the individuals and bands, all the way to a meeting space and concert venue that seats up to 120. That also includes a professional audio, visual, and lighting system and a sound booth. Maxwell's has it all. All this plus an original functioning 1947 recording booth to make your own record. Go to the Guitar Hero throne, to the very own Elvis statue, and don't forget the Harmony Green Pocket Park. There's a reason the Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana has been recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants as a #1 award-winning best store design, as well as top 100 music store year after year. You gotta see it to believe it. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana.